Tuesday, January the 7th, 2025 council meeting. And I would declare that all members of council are present this evening. And I would ask if we would have a motion to approve the agenda, please. Moved by Councillor Harding, second by Councillor Lutz. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Thank you. And now I would ask if there's any member of council feels that they need to declare a conflict of interest on any of the items on the agenda. Seeing no member declare that, we will move on to the approval of the minutes for the December the 3rd, 2024 regular council meeting. You have a motion, please. Moved by Councillor McPherson, second by Councillor Hiltz. All those in favor or against, please push your button. I pushed my button. I was in favor of it too. I guess I'm not strong enough. All right, motion carried. And now I would ask for a motion for the joint council meeting regarding Remo on December the 4th, please. Moved by Councillor Gates, second by Councillor Sappington. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried. Thank you. And now I would ask for a motion for the December the 11th, 2024 joint council meeting regarding IMSAS. And please push your button for or against.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry.
because there's no mover and seconder yet for that motion.
Okay. That's what 2 weeks vacation does to you. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Best. All those in favor, please press your button. Motion carried. All right, we'll move on to the December the 12th new council orientation presentations, and I'll be looking for a motion to approve that, please. Moved by Councillor Gates, second by Councillor Sappington. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Thank you. And now for the final one, on December the 17th, special council meeting following COTW. I would like to have a motion, please, on that. Moved by Councillor Lutz, second by Deputy Mayor Peckford. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried. Thank you. And now I would ask if there's any business arising from the minutes of the December the 3rd meeting of council. Okay, seeing none. Is there any business arising from the December the 4th special council meeting? Okay, we'll move on to the December the 11th, 2024 special council meeting. Any business arising from that? No? Okay. The December the 12th, 2024 special council meeting. Any business arising from that? No? Okay. And the final one, December the 17th special council meeting. Any business any councilor is aware of arising from that? No? Okay. We shall move on. Amendments to policy FIN-05008 business expense adoption. We're looking for a motion to adopt the amended business expense policy. Council had previously given 7 days notice to amend the policy on December the 17th. We have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Harding, second by Councillor Allen. Any further discussion? Okay, Councillor Sappington.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have a question in regards to 4.12.2. There is a sentence right there where it's been struck, and if I may, I'll read. The Audit and Finance Committee will ensure the municipality has in place a process for independent review and approval to ensure that all council expense claims are properly prepared, documented, and approved. I'm just wondering why that was struck, and I did have someone give me a call, and they said they were concerned that it reads as if the oversight is being taken away with the way our expenses are being claimed, and we just wanted to make sure that there is still a chartered accountant that's overseeing it, that it's still public knowledge, and it will be published on our municipal website and such. So I was hoping that someone could explain that.
Thank you.
That being struck is not changing any sort of oversight that we are getting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Barr, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Sappington. So when staff were reviewing that section, we felt that that sentence was kind of a bit redundant, given other sections of the policy that were in place, and a bit dated in terms of the new requirements that are in place for audit committees and for the municipality. So I'll explain what I mean by that. In the previous section, it talks about how, from like an independent point of view, there's internal controls that segregate the duties in terms of who reviews it, who's approved it, being myself, the mayor. There's independent individuals that would do that. On top of that, when you look at the requirements for the reports, they're now required to be published quarterly on our website, to be reviewed annually by the audit committee and remitted to the province for their review. And on top of that, all of our internal controls that we have, the financial auditors review them, provide a report to the audit committee about that. So there's still that oversight and a lot of transparency in terms of posting those reports. And so to kind of clarify that, there hasn't been like an independent company hired to come in and review all of those information. The controls that we have in place, the auditors review, the submissions to the province, the posting on the website, we felt kind of covered it all, and it eliminated any confusion about what was actually happening at the audit committee level.
Follow up through you, Mr. Mayor. So the people that are overseeing it, even internally, they do have chartered accountant designation, correct?
Correct, yes.
Correct.
We have 4 chartered accountants on staff.
And then the independent review would, in essence, be the public themselves. They have access to that on our website quarterly.
Correct. It's posted quarterly on the website, and the province reviews them, and it's there for anybody to look at on a quarterly basis, as well as the audit committee does do an annual review of them as well.
Thank you, Mr. Barr.
Thank you. And so we have a motion on the floor. So all those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried. Thank you. And now we have a amendment to policy FIN 05-020, the hospitality adoption. And that was amended. Council previously had given 7 days notice to amend the policy on December the 17th. So unless we've got further discussion on that, I'd like to have a motion and a seconder, please. Moved by Councilor Lutz, second by Councilor Hill. Allen, I'm sorry. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Now, on item number 7, I'd like to welcome Revenue Manager Scott McKay from our Finance Department to make a presentation, please.
Mr. Mayor and councilors, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to the new council for my first time, and I congratulate you all for your successful campaigns and wish you a happy new year. So the next item before you is a request to make a minor amendment to the property tax sale policy. If I can get it going here. So for clarification, I work in finance, not in IT, So the next item before you is a request to make a minor amendment to the property tax sale policy. And for the benefit of our new council members, I'd like to provide a little bit of background on the tax sale process for you. So the sale itself is held annually in March here in council chambers. It's in auction format conducted by the municipality solicitor with the assistance of revenue staff. The process for that sale, however, commences in July of the prior year. At that time, a listing is generated of all property tax accounts which have outstanding taxes from at least 2 years prior. So for the upcoming March 2025 sale, that listing was created on July 9th of 2024 and picked up on any properties with balances owing from 2022 and prior. Typically, there are anywhere between 300 and 500 properties on that initial listing. And in the months leading up to the tax sale, staff issue preliminary notices in July, reminder notices in September, and then registered notices in January to all property owners. There are also title searches conducted on all of these properties that are still on the list in October. And from this, staff send registered notices to all spouses, lien holders, judgment holders, mortgage holders, prior to the tax sale as dictated by the Municipal Government Act and our own policy. From the initial listing of this 300 to 500, we usually bring that number of tax sale properties down to 20 or 30 by the time of the sale. Several of these notices provided to property owners and owners, others with a legal interest, are mandated by the MGA to occur a certain number of days prior to the actual tax sale. And in 2023, that cyber incident that I know you're all aware of forced a delay in the execution of the 2024 property tax sale in order to meet all of those prescribed timelines. So as a result of that incident, an amendment was made to Section 4.6 of the property tax sale policy. That's policy FIN 05024. And that was to accommodate a change in the 2024 sale. And it's being requested this evening to simply remove the highlighted line as seen on the screen from the policy, as it no longer applies. So therefore, the recommendation before you this evening is that Municipal Council provide 7 days notice per Section 48(1) Municipal Government Act to amend policy FIN 05024 property tax sales. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. Just a quick question on form. When I'm reading the policy and I'm looking at it, it doesn't seem to be formatted the same way as like the business expense policy, for example, in terms of like the way at the beginning is structured and the crest and all that. Is this policy generally filed in like a way that is consistent with the other policies, or is this just in this format for the purposes of the agenda?
You know, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Lutz, this policy was probably done prior to the change, should be updated, and certainly will be for before it's posted to the website.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Don't see any other questions, so would someone like to make a motion to give the 7 days notice, please? Moved by Councillor McPherson, second by Deputy Mayor Peckford. Yeah. All those in favor or against, please press your button. You got 100%, Mr. McKay. Thank you,
very much.
and Happy New Year to you. All right, we'll move on to Fire Services Advisory Recommendation for December the 5th, 2024. I believe Deputy Mayor Peckford is going to read the recommendation. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 08, that municipal council budget for $1,000 honorarium for each Kings County firefighter in the 2025-2026 budget, and place those funds in a reserve pending a recommendation from the Kings County Firefighters Association on how to distribute the funds.
Okay. And do we have a second? You're making that as a motion, and do we have a seconder for that? Second by Councillor Hiltz. And any further comment? Any questions? Okay. Councillor McPherson.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Just curious, 25-26 an honorarium, a budgeted honorarium of 1,000. How does that compare to the current year? Is that an increase or is that status quo?
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. That is an increase, yes.
You got a follow-up, Councillor McPherson?
Yeah, just curious as to what the current honorarium is.
I would, thank you. I would have to double check on that. I believe it's more than double the previous honorarium. Without
Yeah.
the exact number in front of me right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Lutz.
Thank you. Yeah, in no way will I be supporting this motion, and I'm going to give you some background on why. I don't think this is a bad idea, but this is not, in my mind, the way to implement this type of decision. So currently, and I would love to hear Deputy CIO Frost's commentary on this piece. We don't, like, this is just sort of like this is the cart before the horse. We don't have the information about what the budgetary impacts would be on our budget. So I don't know if this is going to 500 firefighters or to 800 or 1,200. We have no idea how it's administered, and I understand that the idea is to place the funds in a reserve pending a recommendation. We don't know the impact that's going to have on the tax rate, on what, like, there's just way too many unknown questions to even be having this discussion at this point, and I fully respect the role of the Fire Service Advisory Committee. I think being privy to the conversations that committee had would be extremely useful to be able to understand the need for an honorarium. What is the volunteer recruitment situation like? What are other fire departments being, are they doing honorariums? How does this compare? We do budgetary analysis and comparative analysis for every salary position here at the county, for our counselor salaries, for every decision we make. So I think this is not a bad idea. I do believe, we know that there's a shortage of firefighters. We know we want to keep our firefighters engaged, and they're well worth $1,000 a year. no arguments for me on that. However, we just absolutely do not have the information tonight to be making a decision of this magnitude, which we literally have no idea what the budgetary impact is going to be of something like this. So I think we have to just reverse this a little bit and have a meaningful conversation with the fire chiefs and with the Fire Service Advisory Committee and with our firefighters in general, and talk about how to keep them engaged, and if an honorarium is the way to go, how do we fund it? What does it look like? How much does it cost? And how do we go about incorporating that into our budget at the appropriate time? So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Best.
Thank you, Mayor, to Riley. No idea how much this is going to impact the county. I look at it that you think it's double, but you're not really sure 100% how much it's going up. I think we need to pause this tonight and bring back some more information. I would like to know exactly what they're making now, and is every firefighter the same amount of money across Kings County, or does some make more money than others, and do you have to attend so many calls and stuff like that? I'd like to see more information for myself before I can vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Deputy Mayor Peckford.
Thank you. Through you to Councillor Best. Just off some rough numbers, without having the exact number of volunteers we have that would qualify for this, the conversations we had were roughly 500,000.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe, and I'll just throw this out as a suggestion. I don't think many people want to give the firefighters the impression that we don't value their service, as Councillor Lutz said. But maybe it might be prudent if a councillor would like to make a recommendation to table this for another month or so until such time as we can get a little bit more information. That way we're not turning it down or approving it until we have all the facts. So, yes, Councillor McPherson.
Very much through you, Mayor. I concur evidently with the comments from Councillor Best and Councillor Lutz. I certainly don't want to be recognized in this meeting this evening as not supporting our firefighters, because they are crucial to the citizens of Kings County and do a tremendous job in a voluntary role. And I would love to support this recommendation. However, at this time, I think your idea of tabling this is a good one. So I would like to make a motion that we table this motion until we have an opportunity to learn more information about everything that Councillor Lutz so ably described.
Do we have a seconder for the table? Moved, second by Councillor Best. And so all those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, so we have, okay, so motion to table it has been approved. All right, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee recommendation, Councillor Hiltz will be making that presentation. I'll get you to put your light on, Councillor.
I lit up.
There you go. Oh,
Just bear with me.
there you go.
Just bear with me for a minute, please.
Oh, you take your time. You must be happy. You're the guy that wanted snow, remember? I got a good memory.
It's still running.
While you're waiting, I'll show you my new Christmas present, Bobby, that my new favorite counselor got me. I do now. I do now.
I was absent at that meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. The joint, was there anybody else at the joint advisory meeting that could, no? All right. So what we'll do is, we do have a recommendation here. So, do you want to read the recommendation, Counselor Hiltz, where you're on that committee?
I sure can. The recommendation was that Municipal Council reappoint Quentin Hill, Village of New Minas, and Robert Sealby, Village of Greenwood, and appoint Doug McLean, Village of Cornwallis Square, as Village Commissioner representatives on the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee for a term ending May 31, 2027.
And you so move?
Yes.
And, okay, and we seconder by Counselor Allen. Okay. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Counselor Hiltz. Moving on to the Planning Advisory Committee, and Counselor Lutz is making that recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor. So item A is, the recommended motion is that Municipal Council give initial consideration to hold, that Municipal Council give initial consideration to and hold a public hearing regarding entering into a development agreement to permit the development of 2 multi-unit dwellings at Old Dyke Road, PID 55209-530, New Minas, which is substantively the same, save for minor differences in form, as the draft set out in the report dated December 10th, 2024. I so move.
Okay. No more further discussion, so you so move?
I so move.
All right, and seconder is Counselor Harding. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. The next item, and I'll just remind you that if you're online or looking at the electronic version, that all of the reports from the PAC meetings are hyperlinked into the in this section, so you can go back and see all of the reports that staff have put together, because our council agenda just has the motions, but all of the information is in the PAC agenda, which is attached. So the second one is that Municipal Council give first reading to and hold a public hearing regarding the application to rezone the properties located on Brooklyn Street, PIDs 55047856, 55472955, 55473987, North Kentville, from the residential 1 and 2 unit R2 zone to the residential multi-unit R4 zone, as described in Appendix D of the report dated December 10th, 2024. I so move.
Okay, and seconder by Counselor Best. Any further discussion? All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. 10C, Counselor Lutz.
Thank you. The Municipal Council give first reading to and hold a public hearing regarding the amendments to the text of the land use bylaw to enable bed and breakfast operations within residential units in all zones that permit residential units as described in Appendix A of the report dated December 10th, 2024. I so move.
Okay. Second by Counselor Gates. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried, and our Next public hearing, Councillor Lutz.
Thank you. The next public hearing will be held Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in these council chambers.
Okay. Thank you. And I guess we don't, that's just a notice of the, so we don't need a motion on that. Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. And we do have a letter to congratulate us for our election from the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. Normally would that be read or just no? Okay, so could I get a motion to receive that correspondence, please? Moved by Councillor Hilt, second by Deputy Mayor Peckford. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Thank you. Now, board and committee reports. The Kentville Joint Fire Services Committee, that will be presented by Councillor Hiltz. It should put your light on. Councillor Hiltz.
Thank you, Mayor. The Joint Fire Service Committee met December 19th at the Kentville Fire Department. Kentville Councillor John Andrews was nominated by Councillor Bob Best, seconded by Kentville Deputy Mayor Deborah Crowell. Councillor Andrews accepted the nomination and was acclaimed. Councillor Sappington nominated Councillor Hiltz as Vice Chair and was seconded by Councillor Best. Councillor Hiltz accepted and was acclaimed in that role. Chief Hamilton gave his report and same accepted by the committee. There was a lot of discussion about the proposed operation and area rates for 2025 and 2026. Kentville Deputy Mayor Crowell requested to see the CPI calculation and reasoning behind some of the proposed increases, including honorariums. The committee requested to see cost figures of the area rate purchases to be incorporated into the budget process before the committee approves. There was also a lot of discussion about the purchase of 2 new fire trucks, and unfortunately there is a delay on the supplier's end. It is unknown when they will be ready. One of the trucks is a pumper rescue combination and will replace the 2 trucks and may also increase response times to emergencies. Chief Hamilton and Kentville Volunteer Fire Department Office Manager Platt gave a tour of the department to Councillors Hiltz and Sappington after the meeting. The next meeting has been scheduled for January 23, 2025 at 4:30 at the Kentville Fire Department. Thank you.
And you so move your report.
Yes.
We have a seconder. Second by Councillor Allen. Any questions to Councillor Hiltz on his report? Councillor Gates.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, to my Councillor Hiltz. Was there any discussions for the replacement to source those trucks locally?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, there was. The rationale for not having them local was a lot of it was warranty issues. Having the chassis made and having the body of the truck all in one. It was communicated to us that that is the practice that a lot of other departments are doing now.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Gates, for the question and for the Christmas present cup. All those in favor or against? Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Sappington.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. As I understood, also a consideration was the importance that they placed on having all the trucks be uniform in the way that they are run, so that in an emergency, everything is placed sort of in a uniform way, and so they like to source it from the same source.
You were on. Now you're back on.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Sappington. And Councillor Gates, yes, the operators or engineers of a lot of these trucks, like the pumpers, especially, it's familiarity to have the same supplier. Apparently, different suppliers, different layouts, to operate the pumps, to distribute water and so on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion in front of you. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Helps. Now, Police Board Advisory Committee to be presented by Councillor Sappington. Oh, sorry, you're too fast for me.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Police Advisory Board met on December 18th in the Municipal Chamber. I was honored to be nominated by Councillor Best to be chair, and I accepted. Councillor Best kindly accepted my nomination to be vice chair. Mr. Brown provided a brief overview of Bylaw 111, noting that there had been recent revisions bringing the municipality's bylaw in line with provisions of the Nova Scotia Police Act. Mr. Brown spoke to a traffic incident involving a minor at a crosswalk in North Kentville. Staff Sergeant Nugent indicated that ice-covered windows may have been the cause. Staff Sergeant Nugent gave us a review of the RCMP activity report included in the meeting agenda package. Mr. Brown noted the board has one vacancy, a citizen member from the western end of the municipality. Applications are open. Ms. Vandenhoff requested to invite the Department of Justice to present on the role of the provincial appointee on the Police Advisory Board. Mr. Brown or Mr. Gibson agreed to arrange with the DOJ. Ms. Vandenhoff asked Staff Sergeant Nugent about RCMP community engagement during the holidays, and he provided radio ads, participating in the Parade of Lights, and sponsoring families for the holidays as a few examples. Mr. Brown asked members to consider their priorities for the board ahead of the first meeting of 2025. It is my understanding there will be another election for chair and vice chair at the next meeting in February. Therefore, I took my potentially only opportunity as chair to request a field trip for our board to tour the RCMP building. Staff Sergeant Nugent graciously agreed to try to arrange our next meeting to be there and indeed give us a tour. The next meeting is hopefully February 19th, 1:30 p.m. at the RCMP building in U-. Respectfully submitted, Councillor Christina Sappington. I so move.
Good. And do we have a seconder? A second by Councillor Hiltz. Did you have a question, Councillor Hiltz?
No.
No. Okay, Councillor Gates.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Sappington. With regards to that accident in North Kentville, it is my understanding that the parent or the grandparent was there. Was there any discussions about the signage, perhaps, and getting the speed limits reduced in that area? I have been contacted by that parent with that request, and I think if there's not better markings of that crosswalk in particular, the speed limit is a little too fast, I think, for that area.
I believe that the way it was presented, through you, Mr. Mayor, from Staff Sergeant Nugent was that they felt that the car, because I was really troubled by that report as well, and thankfully the child, from what I hear, was very scared, and of course guardians were scared as well, but thankfully was not physically hit. What I understand is that the car did not clean their windshield. And what the RCMP has done now is to have more patrol, and the way he explained it was that even RCMP that isn't necessarily posted in this area have volunteered to be there. But in regards to the signage, I suppose Staff Sergeant Nugent isn't the person that could put signs, but that's my understanding, was that they felt the main cause was that someone hadn't cleared their windshield. And the most disturbing part about it is that that person might not even know the fear that they may have caused with that family, that they had driven not even knowing that that had happened.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion in front of you. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried, thank you. So is there any other committees of council that anyone has a verbal report that they would like to make a presentation? No? How about on any? Councilor Sappington.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, as I understand, the December 2nd meeting doesn't have a report, not because I failed to submit it, but in actuality, that meeting, a chair and a vice chair was not elected at. So there was a great meeting. There was a migrant workers organization. Oh, I'm sorry, Diversity Kings, which was fascinating. But I did not write a report, and now I am telling you about it because I was honored to become chair of Diversity Kings on Monday.
Okay,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And Everett McPherson is vice chair.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to Councilor Sappington on the Diversity Committee? Oh, okay. Any other committees? No. How about external boards or committees? Any reports there? No. Okay. Councilor Lutz, were you at the Valley, was it Valley Waste? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so Councilor Harding.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this is a verbal report. We was at the rehab yesterday, and we welcomed the new councilors, Bess, Sappington, and Allen, to the new board and board of directors. And we still talking about the name for the new organization, and I think we're just about there. I just don't want to say it yet, but it's gone back to management there, and then
Right.
once that is, that's about it for my report.
Okay. Any questions to Councilor Harding on his report? So ordinarily on a verbal report, would we make a motion to accept my report also? Yes? Okay. Would you like to move your report, Tim? Yes. Okay, and second by Councilor Allen. Okay, all those in favor or against, please press your button. Okay, motion carried, thank you. Councilor Lutz.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I was going to have a written report done for the committee of the whole meeting, but I'll do a verbal one now, and then I can submit something written for the committee of the whole. So we talked at the joint IMSA meeting in regards to King's Transit and the Valley Waste Authority. So we reviewed the budgets of both of those organizations. There are contract increases, particularly for Valley Waste. It's just the trends from COVID, essentially, that all the contracts, so much of the work that Valley Waste does, as you'll all remember from the presentation they gave to us during orientation, is via contracts with Scotia Recycling and the waste collection. So many of those contracts are due for renewal and will be increased. There's also, the facility is aging, so they are looking to do capital upgrades to the Valley Waste portion, particularly expanding the tipping floors and the C&D, construction and demolition pad, by 2 to 3 bays. So they are looking to reserves to fund that expansion, which is overdue and sort of, not overdue, but it's at the point where in the life cycle it's ready to be upgraded. We appointed investment committee members to the investment committee at Valley Waste because they do have a small amount of investments there. There was a consideration for changing the curbside collection, spring and fall cleanup, to going and moving away from the large cleanup twice a year to doing basically a limited amount of large items every other week when you put your garbage out every 2 weeks. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's under discussion at the moment, and it would not take place for quite a ways down the road, like next year. And so they have a proposal out and are looking at the different ways of collecting the garbage. For King's Transit Authority, we passed the corrected audited financial statements. One of our staff here had picked up a error in the statements, which were corrected, and we got an update for the electric bus contract that is being put out to tender, and the amount of buses and the routes that they'll take, and going east and west, and where the charging stations will be, and what the long-term funding plan for. We have a great amount of money now to work with, but in order to complete the entire fleet, there's going to be more money required down the road, and so talk about where to get that funding from. So that's my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions to Councillor Lutz on that? Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Lutz. I'm not necessarily expecting an answer on this because I'm not sure that you would have it or not, but when you're giving your presentation on King's Transit, what I'm thinking back here is changing demographics within the municipality, in particular in growth centers where we're seeing a lot of development. And what comes to mind for me would be our district, number 1, where a year or so ago, council approved a developmental agreement that could result in 440 new units in the area. And if those units are in fact built and people are living in them, it's going to cause a need for enhanced transportation for a lot of people. So I'm wondering what the process is, or is there a process by which King's Transit on a regular basis reviews the services that they provide, and what the process would be, for example, if those units are built as we anticipate in the next 2 to 3 years, what the process would be for requesting that the routes be altered, changed to serve all citizens of Kings County. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Through you. I should have said at the beginning, I am but a mere alternate for Mayor Corkum on this committee, so he can take that, I guess, going forward. But we did actually have a conversation about amending the routes and what that looks like at the meeting, and essentially they recognize that the routes are overdue for review, and so I think I got the sense that they're always looking at it and trying to take into consideration the development patterns of the municipality and where concentrations of people are in schools, and all of that type of stuff is constantly being considered. But there is a process that is underway, or will be soon underway, of reviewing that whole thing. Because when we get electric buses, you have to figure out where to put the charging, and it all just sort of is in a big period of transition, which is really exciting for the organization, but is going to be quite amount of work.
Thank you. And do you want to move your report, and second by Councillor Best? Okay, any further questions? Okay, all those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried, and I want to thank you, Councillor Lutz, for taking my place. I know it's over the busy holiday season, so. All right, other business. Is there any other business coming in to council? Any member of council have any other business they'd like to bring forward? Councillor Sappington.
Forgive me, Mr. Mayor. There was an item on 6A in regards to the amendment of policy FIN 05-008 business expense. I wouldn't bring it up, except I feel like it is a significant the maximum annual rate for reimbursement of family care it used to be 2,000 and now it is at 500, and I wonder if that should read as 5,000. Oh, it's 2,500. Okay, good, good, I'm glad. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Thank you.
Councillor Gates.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just wondering if there's been any updates with the charging stations that we have here as to when they might be in operation, or are they now? Thank you.
Good question. I don't know if Director Kerrigan? All right. Director Kerrigan, you're on.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I do not have an exact date or time that those are commissioned, or if any of them are. I believe the level 3 charging stations are not ready. I believe there's also a universal connection that I read in an email today that was required. So I don't know, my apologies, I don't have a better answer, but I can certainly find that out.
Thank you. All right, so we're at the public comment part of our agenda, and at this time I would invite any member of public that would like to address council to come to the podium, and I would ask them to state their name and address, and that our normal process is they would have up to 2 minutes to speak to council. Hello.
Hello, thank you very much. My name is Connie Lupinetti. I'm from Meadow Lane and Murphy Lake area.
Okay, could you maybe speak a little closer to the mic, or have
Sure.
trouble picking
My name
you
is Connie Lupinetti. I'm from Meadow Lane, Murphy Lake area.
up? Okay.
Is it 2 minutes total or 2 minutes per agenda item?
Well, it's normally per person, but if you have several items, we can poll council and maybe change that.
Fair enough. I'd like to talk about item 7, financial services regarding property tax sales, please.
Yes?
I've read the policy, and there's some language in there, and perhaps it's just a matter of clarification, but some of the language in the policy talks about negotiating payments with owners of delinquent accounts and may make payment arrangements of owners of delinquent accounts for extenuating circumstances. There is, though, a policy on the municipality's website titled FIN 05013, Interest Rate and Tax Due Date Policy. None of that language necessarily is commensurate with either, and I'm just wondering if there could be some more clarification where that information may be found.
Okay. Does anyone have an answer for that? Councillor, Director Barr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I understand the question accurately, that part of the policy is referring to making appropriate arrangements with people. They would still be subject to the same fees and interest charges, but it's basically working with individuals in terms of a payment plan that would work to help reduce their arrears account over a set period of time.
Okay.
Still subject to interest, still subject to any other charges, but basically a plan to help reduce their delinquent amount.
Right, because the Municipal Government Act speaks about allowing accounts to be into arrears up to 3 years before tax sales can be considered. So I'm just wondering if there's a criteria, for the sake of transparency and harmonization of language, what does that look like at this municipality? Or is it on a case-by-case basis? Because it talks about the word extenuating circumstances. What does that look like, and how is that maybe applied in the last 2-3 years?
I think when you look at accounts that are in arrears of 3 years or more, they would likely be going to tax sale unless there was a defined agreement in terms of how they would be paid down. So it would be on a case-by-case basis, I suppose. But typically you would see accounts coming up for tax sale that there hasn't been that payment or that effort to reduce those amounts to the satisfaction of the treasurer and to council.
So just to be clear, extenuating circumstances has no, basically, I guess, borders around it. It is basically assessed on a one-to-one basis, correct?
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. Alrighty, another point, has to do with agenda item 6, if that's quite all right.
Sure.
And this possibly simply has to do with writing style, the policy, perhaps some points of clarification. Section 3.3, it talks about definitions, and again, employee, all employees of the municipality, and where applicable, the CAO. Just out of curiosity, what is an employee then, if the CAO is where applicable? I know this is perhaps mincing words, but it's for the sake of readability.
Pardon me?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Through you, I'm just not following what policy you're referring to.
It's agenda item 6, policy FIN 05008. If you read the policy, it provides definitions in it, and it provides for definition the
Business
word
expense
employee,
policy. Adopt.
and the CAO is only determined to be an employee where applicable. How does one interpret that type of language?
Sure, Director Barr, do you have anything you can add to this?
Thanks for the question. So in the case of this policy, the CAO does fall into reportable individuals as well.
Right.
So it's some points the employees are referring to the broader employee base. May
Right.
sometimes include the CAO. The CAO may also be included under the reportable individuals as well.
All right,
So
and-
sometimes it's applicable, sometimes it may not be, depending on the circumstance.
Okay, so it's a matter of basically language seniority depending on the case.
Language what? Pardon?
Seniority, basically, it's a reportable individual when that part of the MGA kicks in,
Correct.
and it's otherwise. Okay, fair enough.
Sorry,
Secondly,
sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
I didn't mean to cut you
I was going to chime in and just indicate that as a reportable individual, like my expenses, if any, are also posted.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't questioning that, but thank you.
No, so other employees perhaps not, but I'm a reportable individual, all of my stuff.
Fair enough. There's one element as well, section 422122, subsections. It talks about members of council and some of the duties of reporting for expenses that are allowed for reporting to meetings. So at face value, when you read it, it says, does the following points below imply that members of council are reimbursed above and beyond their fixed annual incomes for the carrying out of regular duties, i.e. attending council or council of the whole, such as tonight? And that's simply a matter of, I guess, public curiosity.
Council gets reimbursed for things like their meals or maybe traveling expenses. Now, when a member of council is on some outside boards, like maybe Valley Waste or King's Transit,
Right.
those boards, instead of Kings County paying, maybe if it was myself going to a meeting in Elmsdale, then Valley Waste or King's Transit would be the one that would reimburse me for my travel expenses to go there. But as far as attending another meeting somewhere else representing Kings County Council, they don't make any extra money.
No, okay, fair enough. And I think that's where I think 421 and 422 differ. One has to do with, I guess,
Well,
basically,
I think it has to be open so that Valley Waste or King's Transit, when they want to pay for it, and quite frankly, our council would want it that way because we have other partners in those organizations and they share in the expenses. And so if we can have the larger group help with the expenses, that's
fair enough.
beneficial.
Fair enough. It's a matter of, I guess, stretching your dollar.
Well, it's more beneficial to the taxpayers of Kings County that way.
Likewise, fair enough. And 429, again, this is just a matter of, I guess, readability. Meetings with the CAO to discuss municipality business. As it just reads as the CAO is not an employee of the municipality, and therefore it just simply reads as those meetings would not take place in this building as a regular reporting arrangement.
I don't have an answer for that.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with your.
I can talk a little slower, I'm
See, so
sorry.
4.29, meetings with the chief administrative officer to discuss municipality business.
It just reads as if those type of meetings wouldn't occur here at the normal place of employment.
You read it that way?
I'm just a member of the public. I guess I'm just reading it that way, but perhaps someone else may have a different perspective.
Well, lots of times, the CAO would attend meetings at other areas, like, again, Kings Transit, Valley Waste, he would go with the group, so.
Fair enough.
So lots of times, him or the deputy CAO or other members of the staff would be at other locations too, to
Fair
attend
enough.
meetings. Yeah,
Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that clarification.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes are up, too. All right. Is there any other member of public that would like to address council? No? Okay. I would then ask for a member of council to move adjournment, please. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Sappington. All those in favor or against, please press your button. Motion carried. Thank you, and thank everyone for attending in a snowy night.